Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, the Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools has been the place to shop for your industrial needs for over 20 years. Carrying the tools you need to get the job done from the brands you can trust, Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools has you covered. Brands like Milwaukee Tool, established in 1924 and on display in our Milwaukee Red Zone, the largest red zone in Winnipeg. With construction workers and tradespeople in mind, Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools is your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs. So come on down to our Winnipeg store location today, located on 1557 King Edward Street in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
And good evening, Manitoba female U18 AAA hockey fans, into a special edition of MFHL Playoff Game Day. It's the championships. Best of 5 finals. Game 1 here live from Niverville, Manitoba in the CRRC between the top dogs in the MFHL this season, squaring off for what should be an unforgettable final series here in 2025. I'm your host and play-by-play commentator, Graham the G-Show Forsyth. We've been with you all season long, MFHL fans, and we can't wait to call this Game 1 here tonight between one team that's very well rested in the Eastman Selects. Haven't played since March 8th when they ended up sweeping the Yellowhead Chiefs in 3 games to move on. They're 6-0 so far in the postseason as we take a look at the updated bracket. As for the Winnipeg Avros, they ended up battling hard and being able to make it through the defending champion Winnipeg Ice. And that means we're going to get a new champion for the first time since 2020-2023 when the Ice first knocked off the Westman Wildcats off the throne. Of course, those two teams played each other last season, but of course the Avros got through Westman in their road to the semifinals, and then they played against their Winnipeg rival, who's been their big sister throughout these past few years, but no more, said the Avros. The Ice scrambling a bit. That stretch pass all the way down. No icing called. The Avros bench livid right now, but this doesn't matter as it gets down again into the ice zone. 20 seconds remain. The Ice in danger of being knocked off the throne. Lazarenko, her shot through, denied by Almeida. 10 seconds remain. The Avros, do you believe hard enough to get it done? They do just that as this Avros squad has dethroned the Winnipeg Ice That not going to count, but it doesn't matter for the Avros. They're going to the finals. The reign is over. The Ice have lost for the first time in the playoffs since 2021, 2022, and for the first time since 2022, 2023, we are going to see a new champion crown in the MFHL. Congratulations to Ashley Van Aglen and her Winnipeg Avros group on coming back, fighting hard in this series. And the Avros riding Adriana Almeida in that victory, and really in the last two games as she made over 40 stops in Game 4 and in Game 5 for Almeida. 45 stops on 47 shots against in the victory to propel the Avros through to their first final since 2018-19. The last time these two teams met in the finals in terms of the Winnipeg Avros and the Eastman Selects, as we take a look at the schedule for this best-of-5 series as the first three games. All going to happen this week. If necessary, then next Tuesday that is, and next Saturday we'd see Games 4 and Game 5. But as for these two teams, it should be one heck of a matchup here, featuring two great goaltenders. And the last time these two teams faced off against each other in a final series was back in 2017-18, where the Eastman Selects rode Reagan Kirk. The last time these two teams played against each other in the playoffs was back in round one in 2017-18. They didn't end up playing each other in the finals in 2017-18 as the Eastman Selects knocked out the Avros. But as for this one, it's two juggernauts going up against each other. As for the Winnipeg Avros, last time they played Eastman in a playoff series back in 2017-18, they ended up going up against a hot goaltender in Reagan Kirk, of course a national champion, now playing in the PWHL. And as for this Avros team, they have one heck of a goaltender themselves in Adriana Almeida, as their best players answered the call in that semifinal series, and really all playoffs long, and Almeida being one of them. But they dethroned the champs in their rival in the Winnipeg Ice, finally in a playoff series, getting over a huge hurdle, a huge personal hurdle for Ashley Van Aglen, especially as she's been coaching for years, and she's back into yet another championship. Of course, this Avros team, the last time this organization made it into the finals was 2018-19, where they ended up losing to the Westman Wildcats. Looking to fare better this time around, going up against an Eastman team who plays with so much pace, such a great defensive team. We'll get to their numbers in just a moment in that end, with two spectacular goaltenders, a loaded group offensively that has so much balance, and a great decor. But how can the Avros help themselves? Try to match their pace, and when you're in Eastman's zone, take risks. You're a team that has taken risks in the past and has this season. Load up the house. Don't just put one player, put a few players crash in the net, and good things could happen as the Avros make their way out onto the ice. As for the Selects, final bound, their first appearance in 2017-18 in this series, an all-time great defensive season, as currently in 38 total games, they've only allowed 37 total goals, 33 goals against in 32 games in the regular season, only 4 allowed in the postseason. But no rust so far. They've had 10 days off. They've been practicing, but game play so much different. This Avros team has been in the swing of things. Expect for them to come out with the early advantage against this Eastman Selects team, who looks to stymie them once again in the regular season. In their season series, Eastman got the better of the Avros 3-1, ended up being the only team to shut them out, and did it twice. Can players like Rio Pierre, who's been phenomenal, Adriana Almeida, and the rest of the Avros best answer the call and bring home what would be a first championship in franchise history? And for the Eastman Selects, can you finish off this all-time great season for yourselves, a best in franchise history? Send yourselves into MFHL glory for a second time, looking for their second championship, first since 2017-18. We'll have the puck drop and national anthem coming up, MFHL fans. Thanks for tuning in and choosing your home for MFHL Championship action on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca. We got this thriller between two juggernauts coming up next. Number 1 Selects versus number 2 Avros here on gshow.ca. Well, in the season series, the Eastman Selects won it 3-1 against this Avros squad. But this is the finals. Those matchups long ago at this point. And as for these two teams looking to accomplish what would be quite the accomplishment for the Selects, this group looking to finish off as champions in what's been the best season in this program's history, finishing first place for the first time ever with their most wins. They are 6-0 so far. They've carried their great defensive play and offensive play in the postseason, only giving up 4 goals so far. But for the Avros, their road a bit different. 4 games to get through the first round, 5 games against their Winnipeg Ice rival in the semifinals to dethrone the back-to-back champs, and they look to pull off what would be an upset in this series this time around, as they are the lower seed for the first time in the playoffs. But that doesn't matter, as we're into the championships. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. If you are live here from Niverville, we're G-Show Productions, your home for MFHL hockey here in the province of Manitoba. This rimmed around to Sophia Heidinger, plays it across the neutral zone to Hepner, who sends it out of play, going off of an Avros player's stick. As for the starting goaltenders in tonight's action, brought to you by Goaltenders and Your Goalie's Personal Video Review Service, Addison Tomes for the Eastman Selects, and for the Avros, who else but Adriana Almeida, who's been spectacular. In my opinion, the biggest reason the Avros moved through into this final series, making over 40 stops in both Game 4 and 5. 45 stops in that Game 5, as she was tremendous. Addison Tomes can very well match, as she one of the top 3 goaltenders in the league this season, along with Almeida, and I'd say her teammate in Isabelle Labossiere. Pretty nuts that Eastman has both of those goaltenders. Both of them eligible to come back next season. Speechley gets this over to Amy, trying to fight her way through, kicks it to herself from a tight angle, denied by Tomes as number 34, her first save of this contest. The first shot turned over now, Amy off the post! Oh, the Avros so close to opening the score, not even 2 minutes in, as Amy all over it. But that post, acting as Tomes' best friend that time around. Rebound hopped over the stick of Speechley as it's into the Avros zone along the wall. 2 Selects trying to dig it out. Isabella Carrier, 2 Avros there to eat it up well enough to get a stoppage here, 18-13. As this first period brought to you by Ken Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. Be sure to check them out today at 995 Milt Siegel Drive, as well as checking out their website at KenCentralSportsCards.com. That pass to the slot, but not there. Select picked off by Dinez. The Selects get this back into the Avro zone, but a stretch pass to Dinez is a breakdown in coverage from the Selects there for just a moment, but Beavis regains her balance, gets back up to shovel this puck almost out off the board, stays in as the Avros hold the line. DDD, this goes Beavis backhanded up to Rigo. She gets knocked off her line as number 14 Robin Clausen with some physical play, but Eastman able to send this in and trying to get after it, but the Avros to it first. Eastman forcing a turnover at the blue line as this off the board is turned over again. Stretch pass, that all the way down, going to be called for an icing. As for Ashley Van Eglen, not happy with that icing call. Felt that, I believe she thought her player in Wozni beat out the Selects to that icing. But that not the case. I believe she was arguing there was a tip as well. Past the red line, that should have negated the icing, but that not to be for this Avro squad, who so far against an Eastman team who hasn't looked exactly like themselves, just getting back in the swing of things in gameplay. Talked about it in the pregame show. Feeling like in this game, honestly, the Avros have a advantage to start off this series with a strong start in this first period, and potentially that leads you to a victory in this game one, as they've already had some good opportunities. Liberty Amy creating both of them, almost benefiting from a turnover early on here. As not even 4 minutes is gone yet. That off the stick of Cook, but into the skates of West. She banks it off the boards, turns it over. It's Kennedy Carrier who gets cut off along the boards as West back on it, spins away from the Eastman, checking up the boards to Nolgren, but Nolgren unable to get that out. Fired right back in by the Selects, picked up by the captain for the Avros again. Now she'll send this out into Pierre's direction all the way down. Vaderio beats her to this, and there will be an icing as well, bringing a face-off draw back down into the Avro zone. Yeah, for both of these teams, back in 2017-18, it was a Hawk goaltender in Reagan Kirk, PWHL pro now, and national champion for Wisconsin, as that shot turned aside by Almeida. No, sorry, for Ohio State. Reagan Kirk won that national championship, not Wisconsin. As this turned over into the slot, Pierre fires off the glove of Tomes. And all the way through now, Deppner's big save from number 34 here, as it's 3-1 in shots for the Avros. Now make that 3-2. Yeah, there's a lot of red in my mindset right now in terms of thinking about teams wearing red. Wisconsin, Ohio State, both red teams got them mixed up. My apologies. But yeah, Reagan Kirk, national champion for Ohio State, of course, in the PWHL now. And when the Eastman Selects last played this Avros organization in a postseason matchup, that was back in 2017-18, where the Selects ended up, well, riding off of a hot performance from Kirk. And, of course, Kirk guided them all the way to a championship that season in the MFHL. But upset the Avros, as they were the top team that season. The Avros trying to upset the Selects here, as yes, they're 1-2, but the Selects have been so consistent this season and are one of the only teams to have the Avros number. The Avros gotta love who they have in Ned and Almeida. The Selects gotta love who they have in Tomes. Nice kick save as number 34 continues to stay sharp in this first period of action. Dinez past the red line, sends this in deep. Is this all the way down for an icing? Stenez just before the red line before sending that in. But yeah, spoke about it in the pregame and have talked about it already, but Adriana Almeida, she's been able to steal games in this postseason for the Avros, and it's something that the Avros are going to be looking for in this series from number 35. It's a bit of a slow start for the Selects. Only 3 shots so far. They're usually up over about 6 or more right now at this point, by this point in the game. As the Avros have done a good job defending in their own end so far. As the Selects try to push the neutral zone, they do. They're through now. It's Delaney Rigaud taking this down low, but she's cut off by an Avros defenseman and Jenna Turner. As this backtracked by the Selects now as they play D-to-D. Callie Remillard over to number 17 and Veda Rigaud, but getting past Rigaud now. Number 19 and Wazzy. She gets cut off by Scott Cook. Great defensive play by number 15 coming back in her own end. As it's along the Eastman bench now. Along the boards there. Scooped out by the Avros. That shot from West wide of the net. So it goes off the backboards. Veda Rigaud along the boards loses this now as Robin Clausen with a good forecheck got pinned up there by Veda as this rimmed around now out of the Eastman end on to Sophia Heidinger. Tries to dig on through, gets it to Carrier, tried to get it to the front of the net to number 15 and Scott Cook, who was waiting but was covered up well. That cross ice to the blue line and passed. Shot on net by Haggart, turned aside by Tomes. As this draw one by the Selects, but right on the forecheck to the Avros. Nice pressure from this top line, but able to get out is the captain and Abby Dixon as she makes her way up the right wall off the boards. Has that knocked away, but gets it right back off of Cunningham. Nice defensive recovery by Cunningham, allowed for the Avros to work this opposite end of their own end, but turned over. Dixon back on it. Miss pass, as no one there at the line. Normando onto the ice, sends this in deep as the Selects go off for a change. That, an outlet pass to Carlin Zan. Tries to dangle through, almost trouble as Delaney Rigaud with a great stick to be able to knock that away. As it's still in the neutral zone. Normando gets it right back into the Avro zone, but doesn't stay in long as Zant right near the blue line, able to get it out right away. Now it's Lavalley, chips it past Normando and gets by number 11. Number 8 on it, circles around now, gets it to the point to Jenna Turner. That shot blocked by Rigaud, huge by number 18, chasing her down. The other number 18 in Shortridge forced her to make a move. Made it into the corner was Rigaud, but gets it back, circles up top, sends a pass across to Chloe Carrier, but that pass intercepted. It was intended for Veda Rigaud. Stopping up the lane now is Dinez to protect. Had two Avros heading towards the net as Shortridge activated into the zone. Gets us back to Clausen. That shot turned aside. Pierre crashing the net for a rebound, but none there as Tomes able to cover things up. Getting the stoppage here with 11:47 remaining in this first period of action in the championships in this 2025 MFHL season. So we're into game one here. As this sent all the way back down into the Selects end. And line held by the Avros. Nice job by Dinez, I believe it was. It was either her or West as Dinez went off for a change. As Heidinger takes this in with speed into the Avros zone. Cuts towards the boards, fires a pass towards the slot for Hepner, but that gets knocked off. 19 stick. The other number 19 for the Avros battling along the boards. Gives a bit of a shot to Heidinger in the back of the head As this down low in the Avros end now, trying to get this out, but held in by Hawes as the Avros failed to clear. Nice block by Amy. She's had a huge period so far, so close to opening up the scoring as she rang off of the post. Not even 2 minutes into this game. Is this all the way down? No icing called on the play. It's Hawes back on at first anyways for this Selects team. Up to Isabella Carrier, who battled with Cunningham. Now Schroeder gets knocked down along the blue line. This gets sent in deep by the Select squad. Carlin Zant, first one on it, off the boards. That connected to an outlet girl. Up the middle and connected on Robin Klotzen's stick. Up to Haggard. Her shot gloved down by Addison Tomes as we get a stoppage in play here. Again with 10:06 remaining. A face-off draw won by the Avros in the Select zone. That pass down low misses for Lavalley. Turned up ice now by the Selects. As cross ice feed missed Grenier at first, but she recovered off the board. Sends that in deep. As Rio Pierre recovers this up the boards, but rubbed out cutoff by Callie Remillard right away. This off the mark, just out of the reach of the glove of Delaney Rigaud, but Callie Remillard gets it right back. Tied for the most assists in the playoffs so far. One of the top assist leaders in Callie Remillard. As we'll get to the stats during our intermissions, is this delayed offside, but cleared out was the Eastman Selects, and they go back again to attack as on the forward check. Hepner tried to get that away, but was unable to. It's played up. The Avros now play rubbed out, but that taken away. Good support from Lavalley, who draws a tripping penalty right at the blue line. Good call by the referee. Is that shot wide of the net all the way around? Touched up by Eastman, but not called yet by the ref. Now the whistle blown as we'll leave Cairns Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia on the screen. As the Avros onto the power play for the first time this evening out of both these teams. This stretched all the way up to Amy, who has a player heading to the net. Amy decides to shoot instead, holding on to that puck. Got a shot off, but denied by Tomes. Another shot there, this time by Pierre. Good pressure by this Avros squad on a penalty to Scott Cook as that glove down through the traffic by Tomes. As this Eastman squad under siege right now on this penalty kill. They've had some good clears. The Avros starting to turn it up. So we remain tied 0-0. Still searching for our first goal in this game one of this championship series. The Avros hold at the line. That shot wide from Shortridge as Ellis Speechley protects along the wall. Sends this down low to Kelsey Dinez. Up top, back to Shortridge. Through a screen, that rebound kicked out, but swallowed up right away by Alexa Remillard. A shot from the point as the Avros hold that in again. Tomes decides to just cover this up to get her team settled down a bit. As the Avros continue good control. Just want a bit better quality on their power play chances here late. Holmes in good position. Kicked out a juicy rebound, but of course, Eastman doing a good job to defend that, as they have all season long. It's sent all the way down the Avros. Maybe one more potential chance as that stretch to Amy finds her 17 to the net backhand. That denied by Hawes. A good defensive play by number 12 on the back check as we're back to even strength. That power play brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia. That pass up off the skates of Callie Remillard out of the Avros zone by number 18 in Shortridge, who's still up, acting as a forward on the forward check, pressuring Delaney Rigo. Forces a bit of a mispass there from number 18 as she gets it back. Rigo just past the Avros blue line, sends this in deep. Shortridge first one on it. Goes D to D with Carlin Zant to Dinez, but that pass up through the middle, cross ice to Robin Clausen just before the blue line missed, as Grenier sends this towards the Avros net. Cleared away right away by Shortridge towards the Avros wall by their bench. As this all the way out now from this Avros squad with 5:40 remaining. Weird bounce there from Chloe Carrier. She tried to send that in deep, unable to. Kennedy Carrier now gets it out, but an offside call on the play. The Selects send this right back in deep into the Avros zone now, as the Avros along the boards. Player had her stick held up there, and Evie West, but gets it free. West now trying to get this puck free to a D-man, or defenseman as I should say, as that's Jenna Turner. Played it up to Lavalieu, gets it to Pierre. Pierre now trying to send that on net, but blocked up by a good stick from Hepner. Controlling now, getting possession of it is former Eastman Select in Adeline Nolgren, now Winnipeg Avros forward. One of their top point getters this season, one of the top point getters in the league at that. So Nolgren receives a pass from Pierre. Pierre gets it right back in the corner. Pierre up to the point. It's West, unloads that, blockered away by number 34 in Tomes. But the Avros still keep this in. Sent in deep. Pierre now trying to separate from Beavis. Continuing to stay with her is number 7. Takes her out, but it's onto the stick of Lavely. That shot turned aside by Tomes. Not an Avro in sight to pick up that rebound. Clausen gets on it along the boards. Tries to fire this in deep, but it's the Selects who are able to get possession and carry it out. Strong on the puck. Hepner can't quite send it in deep, but it's Dixon who's able to stick with this puck. That shot unable to get through. So it was blocked on its way to its destination there. As this in the corner, now up to the point. Hawes that wide of the net, but making a paddle save anyways. Almeida is the Select now taking down the Avros, able to go the other way with it. Pierre just before the blue line sends it in deep before going off for a change. Getting fresh legs out there for this Avro squad. That pass through the skates of Robin Clausen, sent all the way down by the Selects on the Avros net, as Almeida made the save. The Avros able to make their way back into the Select zone. Sending in deep was Clausen. Haggard unable to get there, but did force a turnover back to the blue line. The Avros D sent it in deeper. Tried to. It's the Selects who were able to take it out. Defenseman Veda Rigo gets stripped of the puck there. She tried to make a move, going on a rush from end to end, as the Avros D and Cunningham send this out up a close boards to our broadcast angle, but with a bit of trouble, so the Avros have to circumvent out of the zone again, as that shot from the point turned aside by number 35 in Almeida. Getting a stoppage here With 2:48 only left in this first period of action, we're still scoreless. Speechley to take the draw. Huge win against a very good face-off taker, and Scott Cook, one of the best I've seen in this league, this season at least. As this going to be held in by this Select squad. Good pressure from Heidinger. The Selects haven't been able to really get their forecheck going that much during this first period. It's been the Avros who've been able to play great defense, take the puck away pretty quickly. They've been able to stretch the neutral zone from their own end, and their first passes most times have been very good, and it's takeaways like that and winning puck battles that go a long way for this Avros squad in terms of neutralizing what's been the best forecheck in the league from this Eastman Selects team, for my money. Is trying to make a move in the corner. Dinesh, she has that taken away instead by Carrier, but nice play by Nolgren to strip away that puck from an Eastman Selects defense. Look out there from Scott Cook as it's a reverse hit from Nolgren. Now towards the Avros line and through in their end onto the stick number 4, and Abby Dixon, the captain, gets sandwiched almost down low by Turner and number 18 in Shortridge. Dixon ends up being okay. The Avros get this back as it's up. Dinez makes a move through the neutral zone just past the red line, sends this in deep as she heads off for a change. Pierre out there along with Nolgren. Now joining the fold soon, number 8 in Lavalley, but this stretched up off the boards to Grenier. Not going to connect with her as it rolled off her stick. Now it's to Lavalley. Makes her way into the zone. Fakes the pass at first. Fires it into the corner. Out of the reach for Nolgren at first, but bounced off the boards to her as we're into the final minute of play. Board battle won by the Selects. They'll look to get this out, looking for one more, a few more offensive opportunities to end off this period. Is this up off the skate of Grenier? She receives that through a screen blocker to side by Almeida. Sent on net again. Almeida turns that aside. With 32 seconds remaining in this first 20 minutes of action, shots 12-8 in favor of the Avros. To be honest with you, MFHL fans, feel like the Selects haven't had that many dangerous opportunities. Most of them. That one almost a dangerous one, but it goes wide of the net instead. That's more like it for Eastman. Most of their chances had to work through getting it through screens, or the lane's been clogged up, and Almeida's been able to see through that and been able to make saves that don't necessarily look like the shots going on net. As for Addison Tome, she's been very active and very good during this period in her own right. Both goaltenders with shutouts so far, and 20 shots combined in the first 20 minutes of action. And it was a post, a few great chances from the Avros during this first 20, but they're unable to capitalize on Addie Tomes. As for Almeida, you could see it. Some of those saves, you know, they may look unnecessary, but she wants to control those rebounds into the corner to make it as easy as possible for her team to break that puck out and attack in the offensive zone. But also I think she wants to feel as much as possible so she can stay in this game, stay active, don't get lulled or relaxed. And yeah, both goaltenders locked in so far. As for the Avros, I think the biggest thing is I talked about loading up the house. I think they could do a better job of that, but I do believe that what the Avros are doing very well is countering the Eastman Selects forecheck so well, and that's because of plays that Almeida's been making in their back end, making it easy for their forwards to receive outlet passes right now, winning those battles down low. Whether winning races to the puck or winning on the forecheck. So we'll see if that can continue for the Avros. What they'd love to see is, well, a goal coming up. Same with the Selects. Can they get into this hockey game? As Eastman's had a lot of time off, and even though they've practiced quite a bit, you can't replicate gameplay, and I think now that they have 20 minutes under their belt, expect for Eastman, in my opinion, to come out much stronger in this next period of action. Should be interesting. You're watching MFHL Game Day, this championship edition for Game 1 of the finals in 2025 between the top two seeds in this league in the province. This first brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. We'll be back for more coming up after a bit of a pause. We're going to show you our promo screen, and then we'll be back for some analysis and just more news, more headlines from around this finals and how exactly this first period went down. See you soon, everybody.
Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry upper deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, the Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store.
And welcome back into MFHL Championship Game Day, aka MFHL Playoff Game Day, on MFHL Game Day here on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca. This is Game 1 of the Best of 5 Championship Series, the finals between the Winnipeg Avros, the second seed, the visitors tonight in Niverville, taking on the home side and the top dogs, the top-seeded Eastman Selects, and it was a pretty entertaining first period of action. Some good chances both ways. The Avros had more of the high danger chances, I'd say, during that period. They had a much better start too compared to the Eastman Selects. And yeah, I thought that the Selects throughout that period got a bit more comfortable in their game, but still not the Selects team that we're used to seeing, that has been so dominant this season in terms of hemming teams in their own end. We didn't see that from the Avros, not really breaking in that aspect as of yet, as it was only the first 20 minutes. Eastman's been off since March 8th, 10 days ago, after they swept the Yellowhead Chiefs, of course, to make it into this round of the MFHL postseason, making it back to the finals since the first time back in 2017-18. As for the Winnipeg Avros, their first finals appearance since 2018-19. Well, I guess since 2019-2020, but that finals series never ended up being played due to COVID-19. The last time the Avros played a full series in the finals was against the Westman Wildcats. Ended up coming out on the short end of that stick and ended up just being finalists, not champions. They're looking for it to be a lot different this time around, this postseason, as this is the first game of the finals. We won't have game number 2 on Friday, as we'll be busy covering the MMJHL playoffs on our pay-per-view service on Uscreen. But we do plan to be there for Sunday, and we do hope to be here for Sunday, as that game 3, depending on what the series score is, either 2-0 or 1-1 between these two teams, I think that game 3 is going to be absolutely electric. This one still has much more to offer, in my opinion. I think that we've only just begun, to quote, of course, a great band in the Carpenters. But as for the goal leaders and assist leaders so far in the MFHL playoffs, brought to you by Canada Fasteners and Tools, your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs here in the province of Manitoba. Rio Pierre hasn't really slowed down at all. 11 goals, absolutely electric. Veach and Remillard, of course, Veach playing no more games. Remillard with a chance to, of course, become the assist leader after the night. Vinaz also with 5 assists, as you can see there. And as for the points leaders, Rio Pierre apparently with none, but she is the points leader right now. There's a very loud horn from the Eastman end of things here. But yeah, we'll get to player stats in just a moment. As Pierre has 14 points in this postseason, 11 goals, 3 assists. The goaltending leaders, Almeida and Tomes, in the top 5 there, as we can see. Labossiere also in this top 5. Your stats leaders brought to you by Canada Fasteners and Tools. For Pierre, once again, 14 points, 4 more than Delaney Rigaud, who looks to play a huge factor in this upcoming period. She was one of the better Eastman players throughout that first period of play, of course. Their leading goal scorer, or one of their leading goal scorers in their regular season. As we get set for this second period of action coming up here. That'll be brought to you by Terrico and goaltenders. As we're underway, puck is dropped, won by the Eastman Selects, looking for a much better start to their period here compared to the last. As it's to Schroeder down low, that shot trying to take it from a sharp angle, but it ends up going off the mark. Eastman still on it though. It's to Lexi Remillard, the defenseman, up in the zone. That shot wide of the net as it's down low now to Isabella Carey. Carey turns that over onto the stick of Leah Clausen, turned over now onto the stick of Lavalley, who played that around the Avros end boards. But this kept in by Eastman as we're seeing this attack start to materialize early here. It's to Rigo at the point. That tip just wide of the net. Eastman's so close as Delaney Rigo now picks this up, kicks it up to herself, fighting through the sticky ice. That's down low. The Eastman Selects cycle in full force right now. Finally taken away by the Avros as a good defensive play down low. Pierre chips it down into the Eastman zone, tried to get to that puck, but unable to find it. Now she finds it down low. Great play from number 9. Strong on this puck, but finally knocked off it by number 17 in Vaderigo. Carlin Zant at the point, holds it. Liberty Amy now trying to get this back. Drags it into herself. That shot just wide of the net. Amy so close to pouncing here. She was dangerous in that first period of action as well, as this ends up back into neutral ice. The Avros look to play this up, but instead played back into their zone. It'll be called for an icing. As this first period of action brought to you, or the second period of action, as the first was brought to you by Can Central Sports Cars and Memorabilia, this second brought to you by Terrico. That shot, Cunningham ended up having it blocked on the way through. Loud cheer from the Selects bench as that pass up the middle turned over into the neutral zone. It got out of Eastman's end, but they ended up not connecting the pass. Now Eastman gets it back. Now fires it into the Avro zone. First one on it, Carlin Zant played into the skates of Liberty Amy. Turned over along the boards through the skates of a Select. Oh, is that just through the net? Oh, that wide of it on the rebound chance off the backboards. That's the Selects. Deep stepping up. Or no, that's Hepner who stepped up in the play. Hepner and a ginger after that, but looks like she's shaking it off. Shots 11-10 now in favor of the Avros as Eastman has closed the shot gap. As this around Carlin Zant, out of her reach, but still able to get it out in the end. As the Avros chip it out into neutral ice along the boards. Clausen looks to fire this back. Big mistake from number 14 as it's on to Heidinger, stick to the net. That tip just wide by number 8. And Isabella Carey circles up top. That pass off the mark as it was cut off by an Avro. Now up to Celine Wozni towards the net. That shot turned aside into the corner by Tomes as the Selects able to get it back in the neutral zone. Wozni right back on it. Nice little dangle in neutral ice before making her way back in to the Eastman end. Held up now. Haggard, good support. Gets that through, but not on net. So it was blocked up by a Select stick. And now sent out onto the stick of Isabella Carey, who decides to send it in deep. She'll go off for a change as Eastman gets fresh legs out onto the ice. Schroeder along with Delaney Rigaud out. That pass up ice through the legs of Chloe Carrier. First one on it, Vader Rigaud up to her twin sister in Delaney. cut off along the blue line. It's Grenier who picks this up. Grenier trucks her way in, trying to beat Turner, but Turner fends her off well. Rigo trying to get that through a screen, but blocked up by Pierre Vita, giving chase back now. Pierre stripped away of the puck, gets it to Lavely, back down low to Pierre. She's in the corner. Has that taken away by Delaney Rigo, all the way down into the Avros end. No icing, as the refs claim it went off of an Avro, and I believe they are right, as I believe it nicked the equipment of one of their players out there right now. Nolgren with Lavely, who's going off for a change, getting Dinez onto the ice. Pierre still remains out there with West and Leah Clausen. This pass in the neutral ice over to Delaney Rigo. That turned into the corner off of the save from Almeida. Another save made by Almeida. Turned aside at the point. Hawes able to hold this. Scott Stroh taking cover, ready for that puck to come out of play as the Ice Wave Media creator, their head photographer out here doing great work. As this sent in by the Selects team, who have looked a lot better during this first 6 minutes or so of this period. We're coming up on 6 minutes out of gone with 14:28 remaining in this second frame. A much better start from the Selects. A lot of good pressure here against this Avros team. They've almost evened up the shots, as mentioned. That shot on net, but no one there for the rebound. It was turned into the end boards by Almeida anyways, as Reese Beavis sends this down low over the stick of an Avro. Now Scott Cook, trying to feed it back door, but that cut off as the pass not strong enough. Hepner not quite in position. Is at the line. Hepner covers for Lexi Remillard. She holds the line now. Backhand to the slot. On to Scott Cook's stick. Back to Remillard. That shot. Nice block by Amy to not allow that to get through. Playing goaltender herself. That's back up to the point. Hepner, her shot unable to get on net, as she tried to get that through a screen, but it got deflected to the end boards instead. That long shot going for the rebound. Heidinger as Almeida covers it up. West takes a swing at Heidinger now. Another one. It's a tomahawk chop by the looks of it from number 21. But none of them catch Heidinger. Thankfully, honestly, the reaction there from West, she just defending her goaltender. Look, it's the finals. You know, crashing the goaltender in the regular season and in the rounds in the playoffs before, it's going to get you in trouble with the other team. Well, Heidinger almost pays the price there, as West defending Almeida afterwards, as the whistle took some time to blow too. We put goaltenders onto the screen in the second period, one of our two second period sponsors, as they've been with us for a second year here now, all season long again. Support the MFHL coverage in the low slot. That save swallowed up by number 34 in Addison Tomes. Right in that high danger area was Lavely, who took that shot. The Avros set up an offensive zone face-off, drawn down the select zone, won by Pierre, played back to the point to Zent by Lavely. Zent off the boards down low towards Pierre. In for support. Lavely is thought there was a whistle that went there for a moment. I think that even confused Lavely as she kind of stopped up for a sec. It's the reaction of a Select player going hard into the boards. The Selects get this back up the close boards to us, the left boards. It's up to Kennedy Carrier. 3-on-2. She decides to shoot that high of the net as it remains on the back of the net. And we'll get a stoppage here. 12:39 remaining. 13-13 the shots, but still scoreless. Eastman with a lot of good pressure throughout the first half of this period. And look, we've said it already. Well, I've said it already, as there's no other commentators here except for me on this network right now. But yeah, said it in the pregame, right? Thought that Eastman, with their days off, and said it throughout the first 10 days off between games, that's a lot to get back into it in a high-intensity moment like a Game 1 finals, right? It's going to take some time. It has for the Selects team, and One they have broken down this season, which I thought in the first period still, their defensive structure was really good. Like, the rebound opportunities weren't really there for the Avros. They were either getting boxed out or it was Tomes that was just redirecting the rebound so well. But when you're able to have good goaltending like Tomes, someone to really weather the storm on those Avros chances, it makes a big difference and allows for your team to get into a game maybe slower than you usually would want to. As I'm sure Eastman would have liked to start off the first period like they did in the second, still searching for a goal as the Avros tried to get that to the net. Pierre unable to get it there. This stripped away now. Delaney, here we go, giving chase. Just gets to it first to beat Turner. Circles away from 15 now. To an open Scott Cook. That blocked. What a block by Shortridge. He's been great defensively so far here tonight. Almost halfway through this game in general. Coming up on the 10-minute mark. As this down. So it'll be called for a hook to number 19 in Wasney. So this Eastman Selects power play goes to work for the first time here tonight. Will be brought to you by Terrico. Serving Manitoba producers for over 80 years in the agricultural industry. Be sure to check out their website for more details at terrico.ca. Eastman so far in 6 games, 4 power play goals, ranks tied third with the Winnipeg Ice. The Avros with 6 power play goals for themselves. But this Eastman power play had the most in the regular season on the power play. So, expect for them to look dangerous here. Chloe Carrier, that shot turned aside right into the breadbasket of Almeida. Another face-off coming up in the Avro zone. Only 22 seconds have gone on this Wasney hooking penalty. Hepner loses this draw to Speechley back into the Avros corner. Great forecheck by Heidinger up to the point. She gets this to Chloe Carrier. D to Vaderigo. That threw it into the chest again of Almeida. She tracked that well all the way, even through some traffic. As for the Selects this time around, it will be on the blocker hand side of Alameda for this draw. Scott Cook against Nolgren. Scott Cook able to win it. Up to Vaderigo. To Danielle Hepner. Danielle Hepner surveying her options. Decides to drop this back to Rigaud. Rigaud drops it right back to Hepner. And now to Chloe Carrier. Carrier and lose that rebound there, but Alameda able to find it on the bounce. As that puck was lively in number 35's crease. But Alameda, her strong play continuing here tonight from what the Avros got from her in that semifinals. And really all season long, one of the top goaltenders in the league. Set an Avros wins record this season as well. As it wasn't just Pierre breaking records this year. By the way, Pierre with over 200 points of total games played with the Avros. She's out there right now on the penalty kill, waiting as the Selects get this out. 3-on-1 on West to get that out from the corner. That shot, off the leg of Callie Remillard. Settles this down. Nice cross-ice feed. Delaney Rigaud shut down by Almeida. Carrier along the boards. Tries to get this to a teammate in Callie. Remillard held in strongly by the Selects. They attack again. Rigaud, that shot blockered away by Almeida. Too high for a rebound. Vaderigo now steps up, dishes this down low. Callie Remillard, 21 seconds remain. It's to Delaney. Up to the point. Grenier to Vaderigo, turned aside by Almeida, but couldn't cover up the rebound. Callie Remillard, first one on it. Remillard down low, gets this to a wide open Grenier. Grenier from a sharp angle, tried to tuck that in, but denied by number 35. And Adriana Almeida, who's made 18 saves so far, 18-13 the shots in favor of the Selects. Great pressure from the Selects here on the power play, and I've talked about it before this season, but the levels this team has in their offensive zone structure. You get past one level, gotta get past another one that's usually near the slot area, the middle of the offensive zone, but the blue line, perhaps the toughest to get past, and they held the line while they're on the power play against an Avros team that was fighting to get it out but couldn't. As again, along the boards, the play superb from the Selects. As we are back to even strength, they carry their momentum over from this power play that just ended. They went scoreless on, but they built up some good momentum and had some good chances. Almeida continues to be up to the task, cutting down angles really well, making great directional stops too. It's making it tough for Eastman to get on the rebounds effectively for themselves. As Delaney Rigaud, that pass off the mark, taken away by Robin Clausen as the Avros look to get some offensive zone time going. This onto the backhand of Sophia Heidinger, taken down at the blue line, no call on the play, and great call from the ref as this gets through now to Walsey, through Select, this went as Walsey in alone dangles, somehow, some way, she's unable to tuck it home. What just happened? With just over 8 remaining, it looked like Walsey had a sure goal, but in fact, by some sort of miracle, Eastman able to keep that out. Normando, that pass through the crease, sits to Hawes at the point. Hawes now tried to dish into the slot, but cut off by Robin Clausen, who skates this up just before the blue line, sends it in, goes off for a change, gets Dinez out onto the ice. As the Amy line going to be on very soon. How does that not go in for Celine Hawasny? Can't wait to watch that back to see how exactly that puck stays out. Is off the end boards and covered up by Almeida. 7:23 remaining. We've still got a scoreless hockey game. A game that feels like there should be goals on it. It's just we're seeing posts, we're seeing unbelievable defensive plays. A bit of luck goes a far way as well, or a long way, as I should say. Guess far would also work in that sentence, but long sounds much better, as that's how the old saying goes as well. As 7 minutes remaining, this off the skate of Vader Rigaud now. That most recent scoring chance for the Avros from Walsey. That pass able to make it out of the zone. And through the neutral zone past the Selects player's equipment. Is this taken away by the Avros now? Turning up the other way, Callie Lavalley. 2-on-2, has Nolgren with her. Nice misdirection on that feed. Nolgren unable to cash. That was the good old break in and weave play. The Avros create good separation there on the switch. And somehow that stays out. I believe that might have caught post again. I think Tomes might have caught just a piece of it. But I think it hits the post in the end. As Hepner drops this back to Lexi Remillard, but Remillard, her attempt to get that in deep, cut off right away by the Avros. This sent in onto the Avros net this time, turned aside by Almeida. It's number 19, and Hepner battles along the boards. Loose puck picked up now by this Avros squad. Up the middle, that feed to Speechley, knocked off the puck, turned over onto Caitlin Schroeder's stick, but she has that whacked off her stick. And all the way down it goes into the select zone, courtesy of Evie West making the defensive play. As this tipped into the chest of Heidinger. Great reflexes to control this, almost, as it ended up out of her reach. And to Evie West as she was able to make the play. The Selects cut it off again in neutral ice, down into the Avro zone again. Sophia Heidinger, that out of her reach. Instead, the other number 16 and Leah Clausen got to it. Turned it over, though, as Hepner gets on this puck. Sends it down low to Scott Cook. Pinned up along the boards by Clausen. As Heidinger into the low slot. That blocker save made by Almeida. Hepner couldn't get what she wanted on it because of the good defense from Evie West as this puck out of the Avro zone. Back down low into the Avro zone now as it's sent in by the Selects to West. She gets that to Amy. That pass up to Clausen, trying to funnel it through Vaderigo, but unable to make a move past number 17. There's great defense there from Veda. Now to Delaney as that shot unable to get through. Blocked up by the Avros defense as Delaney Rigo slow to get up. But she is in fact back on her skates. She gets back on this puck in the corner. Rigo surveying her options. Up to her twin sister and Vaderigo. That shot through but turned aside by Adriana Almeida. It's like she's got a second pair of eyes out there. Or maybe I'd say she's just that good at tracking the puck. She's been able to track everything here tonight, and sometimes through traffic like that, goaltender catches a piece of it. No, Almeida is squaring up to every shot, taking away every angle, so it looks like you're shooting right at her. It's been really impressive to watch. So the Avros got to be excited that they'll have number 35 back in the pipes again next season. Hopefully, depending on if maybe there's other plans in store for number 35, I believe she'd want to be back here in this program. The Avros would gladly welcome her back. But that's next season. This is this season, 2025 finals. Nearing the final minute of this period soon as we're at 3:30 left in the second. So Selects, who have had a lot of good pressure in this period, double digits in shots. They're leading 21-14. Have had some great pressure like we're seeing here, but haven't been able to solve the Avros goaltender, this Avros defense, as Beavis sends this down low to Delaney Rigo. Rubbed off the puck by Carlin Zan. Dixon gets in there, rubs off an Avro along the boards from that puck battle, but the Avros able to get it out now. It's sent right back into their zone. So we've seen a lot of this, especially in these last few minutes of play. Schroeder gets inside the boards on Zant to get that puck loose. It ends up towards the net as Dixon was there in for support. .240 left in this period. Bring goaltenders onto the screen. There's Caitlin Schroeder to take the draw. Wins it for the Eastman squad. Up to Normando. That shot fanned on. Gets it through now as that's tipped and saved by Almeida again. That's turned over by Amy. That quick shot from Dixon. Rebound almost followed up on it. Was Schroeder, but it just hopped up over number 3's stick at the blue line. Schroeder tries to get this in deep. Oh, she runs into her captain in Dixon. Is Dixon slow to get up? Joins the back check back, though, as the Avros making her way in. Speechley knocked off that puck down low by Hawes. Is Hawes that in front? Dinez tipped high of the net. It's a nice defensive stick from Speechley. She circled up high in the zone. The Selects still can't get this out. Great play by this Avros squad. That looks to turn things up now offensively, but Dixon has other plans. Has carry in into the slot. That shot just over the net. Eastman still can't buy a goal. Looked like shot that cleanly. Beat Almeida. Instead, it goes over top of the net. As we're approaching the final minute of play in this second period. Hepner down low, fending off some Avros checking. Heidinger now. That low shot turned aside by Almeida into the corner. The Avros try to get this worked up along the boards. In for support is Lavalley to help out. West got that to Pierre, who got it across to Wozni. Now to Pierre as she gets cut off right away and taken away by Heidinger. She makes her way into the Avro zone, challenging West. That blocked by number 21. As the Avros look to get it out now, but unable to. Vader scoops up this loose puck to the net, a lane open, but denied by Almeida. As number 35 denies number 17 for the Selects. And that's a risk that ends up being taken there by the Avros defense. Takes the girl in front, who I believe is Hebner. And the other defense for the Avros has to be aware of that and has to cut off that lane for Rigaud, but instead, Rigaud able to get to the net untouched. No stick on her, as she's denied by Almeida. It's number 35 up to the task once again. 24 seconds remain now in this period of action. Lavalley battling hard and cross-checks a Select to the ice, and Delaney Rigaud. No call coming. 14 seconds remain. Now an Avro gets hauled down just before the blue line. Gonna be no call there. I think that's only right. Would have been kind of a double standard. As that into the slot. Unable to take the shot is Grenier. And MFHL fans, we go into the final period of regulation tied. Kind of feeling like deja vu here, to be honest with you. As taking a look back at these two teams in the regular season. Well, we'll get to it soon. We'll find the game exactly, but I believe... yeah, it was a game here that we called, actually. I believe it was their third game of the season series. It might have been their second. But it was the Selects who ended up winning the game 1-0 in overtime. Do we see that same result here tonight? Man, Adriana Almeida, what else can you say about her game? She's locked in, she's dialed in, has made key save after key save, and she's making everything look so easy tonight for herself. And you gotta wonder how much it's frustrated this Eastman group of shooters. Is the Selects, you gotta be really pleased with that period. There were a few breakdowns, but the start really great, and they just kept up the intensity. Saw that cycle on full display that's been so effective for them this season, and the pace that they played with, not allowing much to get into their zone and much at all past the red line, really. They only gave up about 3 or 2 shots during that period, as they corrected it from 12 to 11 at the start of it. So yeah, Eastman with a defensive clinic in that period, but no goals to show for it with the 18 shots that they had, as they're now at 26. They were at 8 coming into that period. We'll see if they can find ways to beat Almeida coming up, and we'll see how this Avros team ends up responding here coming up in period number 3. Looking for a similar type of effort as we saw in period number 1 offensively, as they had more of the chances. They look to even up the shots a bit more in this period, specifically coming up. Tie game through 40 minutes. We'll be back here on your home for MFHL playoff action in the championships for Game 1 of the finals in this best-of-5 series between the first seed in the Eastman Selects and the second seed in the Winnipeg Avros. Scoreless through 40 minutes. This period brought to you by Terrico, serving Manitoba producers for over 80 years, as well as goaltenders, your goalie's personal video review service. Sure to check them out at their websites today for more information. We'll be back for the third period call here, coming up soon on MFHL Championship Playoff Game Day.
Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools has been the place to shop for your industrial needs for over 20 years. Carrying the tools you need to get the job done from the brands you can trust, Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools has you covered. Brands like Milwaukee Tool, established in 1924 and on display in our Milwaukee Red Zone, the largest red zone in Winnipeg. With construction workers and tradespeople in mind, McCann Fasteners and Tools is your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs. So come on down to our Winnipeg store location today, located on 1557 King Edward Street in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools in Brandon takes pride in selling the tools farmers and tradespeople rely on. Like our Winnipeg location, Brandon carries the same tools you know and love. From all the brands you can trust, all in one convenient place. And with unbeatable service, we'll make sure you get the right tools to get the job done. Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools in Brandon, proud to serve Brandon's industrial needs since 2018. Stop on by today at 358 Park Avenue East.
And welcome back in, Manitoba female U18 AAA Hockey League fans, into Game 1 of this year's Championship Series, the best-of-5 finals in the MFHL 2025 playoffs here on MFHL Playoff Game Day, this championship edition, brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Terraco, Goaltenders, those brands so far. This third period of action going to be brought to you by Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools, your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs here in the province of Manitoba, with store locations in Brandon and Winnipeg. Be sure to check them out today, as well as their website at midcanadafasteners.shop. But it's a historic night here for us, specifically the G-Show Productions. We got a second broadcast team currently broadcasting an MMJHL playoff game down in Winnipeg at Abe McDonald Arena between the St. James Junior Canucks and the Transcone Railer Express. St. James, if they lose tonight, they're out. They've won 3 years in a row, and in fact tonight is their first elimination game in terms of if they lose, they'd be out with that indication since 2018-19 when they lost in the finals. So what a run it's been for that dynasty, for that organization, and what a run it was for the Winnipeg Ice, who were finally knocked off of the throne for the first time since 2020, 2023. We will have a new champion regardless of how this series plays out. And as for the Winnipeg Avros, they were the ones to take them down. As we take a look at how that series went, it went the distance. As, two huge performances from Almeida in games 4 and 5. Taking a look at Eastman, they've had a lot less work for themselves, even though Yellowhead gave them some challenges at certain points in that series, but they came through sweeping with another shutout victory. They've been sensational here so far in the playoffs. Only 4 goals allowed, but they're going up against the best team in terms of putting the puck in the net in the MFHL in these finals, and so far, well, it's been a goaltending battle here tonight, even though Tomes has faced way less action at this point. In the first period, she faced 11 shots. In that second period, she only faced 3, as it's 26-14 in favor of Eastman, the shot advantage. Eastman had 8 shots in that first period of action, ended up having, about 16 in period number 2. But Almeida continues to be exceptional, outstanding, leads the playoffs and wins with 5. Has played the most games, yes, out of most of these goaltenders, but Almeida's save percentage, her numbers, her game speaks for itself, and she'll have to continue to be fantastic here, as this Eastman Swarm is going to continue to keep coming as their horn continues to play loud here as they make their way back out onto the ice. A team that started to find their footing in that second period, expected them to come up with a strong start, and that's exactly what they showcased. That cycle came to life, their forecheck, their pressure, really the pace they play with. It looked a lot more Eastman-like. In that first period, those 10 days rest, I think it really did play a factor in them getting into this game, given that the Avros have been playing, elimination hockey, fighting for their playoff lives in the last 2 games they played. They played as recent as Friday and most recently Sunday 2 nights ago. So they were a bit fresher in the sense of, not really fresh, but they're more into the groove of things compared to Eastman, where they're more fresh than the Avros. Been a while since they've been into some game action. 10 days exactly from last Sunday, or from 2 Sundays ago now. 10 days from now, as I should say, as they closed out Yellowhead in a sweep that was seen here on the network. But as for this period coming up, there's been no goals so far. The Avros desperately trying to get back to the type of game they were playing in period 1, where there was more offensive zone time in the Eastman end. They start off with their top line, who's trying to make a statement, looking to make a statement here early, as that pass Lavalley unable to find a teammate. It was cut off right away, as Pierre able to take this away. Converging on her, and backing off actually after she spins away. Where the Selects that goal in! Nolgren finds that pass from Pierre, and just like that, 22 seconds into this period, Addie Tomes beat for the first time tonight. Our first goal of this final series goes to the Winnipeg Avros. Former Eastman Select in Adeline Nolgren receives a beauty of a pass from Rio Pierre, as Pierre settles things down by going into the zone, circling down low Delane. Absolutely nothing phases number 9. And nothing phased her there, with 3 players on Eastman converging on her. They give her some respect, backed away from her a bit as she spins to make some space for herself, but they don't account for Adeline Nolgren, who's right there in the high slot near the top of that left face-off circle. Is that goal brought to you by Make Cannon Fasteners and Tools, your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs. Former Eastman Select Adeline Nolgren gets the party started here for the Avros. On the scoreboard, finally we have a goal. I was wondering if we go to another game again where we go to overtime scoreless, and then we'd find a winner. As high up in the zone, Hepner, that shot wired wide of the net. As Cunningham has some trouble with it, bobbles this. It's picked up by Heidinger as Heidinger cut off down low along the boards. This sent out and off of the stick now of Liberty Amy, as Amy unable to catch up to this puck. Not even close as Schroeder onto it first. Over to Blake Hawes. Hawes up the boards, but off the mark for Isabella Carrier, as Carrier tries to strip this away, and she does in the neutral zone. It's back to Dinez. That pass from an Avros defense misses from Turner. Norman Doe thought she gained the zone legally, but that not the case. Leave Dixon a bit too far ahead for the offside. So it'll be a face-off draw 1 for this Winnipeg Avros squad, who gained the lead here moments ago. They're looking to extend it. Shortridge blockered away there by Addison Tomes, as Lexi Remillard now forechecked hard by Haggard, and Shortridge also there. But the Selects able to make their way out. Lexi Remillard now joining the attack, sends this into the Avro zone, turned over onto Turner's stick as she plays this pass up to Wozni. Wozny's pass cut off by Kennedy Carrier. She plays this up the right boards, and now through to the Avro zone onto Delaney Rigaud's stick as Rigaud gets tied up around the net. Taken away by the Avros, but not out. Vaderigo now. She maneuvers her way in on the backhand, sends that on net where Almeida will cover things up. Got a stoppage with 17-18 remaining. For an Eastman squad who, look, you're getting a lot of shots, but you need more quality here, girls. And I think you start getting more traffic to the net if shots are going to make it their way to the net like we saw Vader Rigaud's just moments ago. As the Avros able to break this out and send this in deep. It's Adeline Nolgren giving chase. Goal scorer in this game trying to pin up Chloe Carrier along the boards. Instead, able to get this up. Carrier able to cut off the boards to take that away from Pierre. She lost her stick in number 9. As Kennedy Carrier sends this in deep just before the blue line. Before she goes off for a change. As this back at the point held in Normando. Unable to be taken advantage of there by Eastman. That shot blocked up by from Hawes by an Avros player, but Hawes able to send it back in deep again. On net, turned aside by Almeida. Along the Avros bench now. Rio Pierre trying to dig this out. It's Liberty Amy, along with Evie West, also there in support. Hepner can't keep this in, tried to get across ice past D to Hawes, but fanned on it instead. Liberty Amy tries to shield this puck now. She catches Heidinger up high, no call on the play. Maybe Heidinger tried to sell it there, I'm not sure exactly. But speaking of number 16, back into the Avro zone. How's that taken away? Sent back into the Avro zone again by Beavis. But the Avros able to make a good first pass out. That pass not as good to Speechley as it went off her skate, turned over. The Selects work it in again. Nice skating ability from Evie West, able to spin away from that pressure. Got it out of the Winnipeg end. Wozni circles back, gets this puck in the neutral zone. Fired, turned over to Schroeder, who plays this up the boards, cut off by West, who tried to fire it back in off of a spinorama. Now Speechley fires this in deep, as she'll go off for a change, bringing Robin Clausen onto the ice. Wozni with a good first stick on the forecheck. Knocked it off of Lexi Remelard's twig, as this stretch pass from the Selects all the way down for an icing. We bring Mick-handed fasters and tools back onto the screen. Really, it's usually the Selects that are controlling their games, but right now they're not in control on the scoreboard, and as much as they're in control on the shots, Adriana Almeida has stifled them here this evening. And it's going to take a lot better than what they fired on her already to beat her by the seams of it, by the sounds of it, by the looks of it. As that pass to the neutral zone, not able to get there. Instead, sent down low by the Avros as they try to get this cycle going. Robin Clausen gets this to Wozni. He tries to stick handle through the check-in, but Wozni loses it. As Kennedy Carrier sends this down low. Vader Rigaud. D to Chloe Carrier. That behind for Kennedy as that offers skate all the way down for an icing. So it'll be back in the select zone. As Fresh legs out for the Avros, their top line back out onto the ice. Pierre wins the draw. Lavalley helps it by getting it to the point. That shot turned aside by Addison Tomes off of the stick of Shortridge. As Tomes... It's a clean shot that beat her, a nice shot, an accurate one from Adeline Nolgren. For the most part, you know, Tomes has been locked in. Wouldn't really say that goal was all on her, but of course would have liked to see her make that save if you were the Selects, but it's a little lapse on that goal that happened where Rio Pierre circles to the boards and the Selects D back off of her. They've trying to cover up whatever play she was going to make to the middle and giving her that respect. Because if you play her too tight, she can also make a move on you and make you look silly. But yeah, just a great feed, great vision from Pierre going back to that goal. As the Avros on a line change, the Selects look to take advantage. It's onto the stick of Sophia Heidinger, who has to recollect this in the corner. Gets it up to the point to Lexi Remillard. Back to Heidinger, has that knocked off her stick. It's back to the point to Beavis. Sends this down low to Hepner. Behind her back through the legs, back to Beavis. Hepner gets this back down low now as she battles, cut off by an Avro. Heidinger scores! Somehow she gets forgotten about, but Heidinger sneakily makes her way into the slot, receives a pass that somehow gets through from Danielle Hepner, or maybe it was Shan Scott-Cook, one of those two. And it's a quick release from Heidinger that catches Alameda off guard. We're tied here at the CRRC. Back to even. That goal brought to you by Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools. Sophia Heidinger works so hard in every single game we see. She's been dangerous at points in this game. Not much more dangerous than that so far here tonight. However, as she's able to make the most of that opportunity and send it 5-hole past Adriana Almeida to finally break number 35 shutout streak. That goal brought to you by Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools, your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs. Selects try to send this in deep, unable to. Schroeder goes off for a change. Grenier onto the ice now, off the boards to Delaney Rigo. Across to Grenier. That puck, does it stay in the zone? Yes, it does. No call from the referees for a delayed offside, as the Selects able to get this puck back. Grenier to Delaney Rigo. Tried to make a move past an Avro player, but instead lost that puck as it's sent all the way into the Select zone, as the Avros play catch with Normando worked up now. Kennedy Carrier, that shot never got on net as it was blocked up on a dive block from Winnipeg Avro. As at the point, sent in by Normando, sent wide of that goal, picked up by this Avro squad up to Lavallee, now to Pierre as Pierre tries to fight through Normando to get to that puck, but unable to. As, oh, look out for the referee! He takes a spill. He was in the lane to where that puck was. Sometimes the referee, I've seen that happen a few times. You just get caught up in the wrong place at the wrong time. We will get a face-off draw coming up here inside the Select zone. Pierre to take it against Heidinger. Won by Pierre. It's Amy. Tries to send this down low. Cut off instead by this Select squad as it's Delaney Rigaud with Grenier. Decides to send it in deep just at that blue line. Down low in the Avro zone now. Cunningham plays it up the left side. Cut off. Aggressive play by Beavis as she jumps into the play. Lays a shoulder as well. Takes an Avro down, and the process is now a Select in front. That's Rigaud. Is that a punch from number 18? I believe it is. She's going to get penalized for this one. We see that in junior hockey here on the network. Not as much here in the MFHL, but this is the finals, MFHL fans. Tensions may flare, and they definitely do there. Delaney Rigaud, she's a competitor. These twin sisters as a whole are. And look, sometimes your emotions may get the better of you. It happens. Now you gotta kill this off. Which will be brought to you by Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools. Can the Avros strike with a golden opportunity? Amy, that shot fired wide of the net. Rims up towards the point. Zant battling with Heidinger. That's sent down low by number 11 for the Avros. The Avros cut this off along the boards on the failed rim. Shortridge almost lost possession of that puck. Sends it down low for safety instead. as the Avros work this to safety again to the point. Shortridge blocked by Heidinger. Number 16, a chance at a shorty potentially. Shortridge on her tail. Dangle wide of the net. Heidinger goes. A shorthanded chance for 16. That would have been sweet. Would have been her second of the game. Would have put her Selects up. As maybe that the energy they need for another chance. Hepner now makes her way in. She's rubbed off the puck. Or is she? She stays hard on the long boards. It's the Avros able to work this out. But nice play by Hepner to get it back and send it in deep. Almeida out of her own net. Settles this down, gets this to Shortridge, who plays this to Speechley. Speechley, backhand pass, cross ice. Out of the reach of Zant. All she can do is poke this up. Turned over to Hawes. She sent that in deep as 12 goes off for a line change. Fresh set of D out for this Select squad now. Evie West up the middle for Nolgren, but a no-go there. As it's off the mark for number 12, sent right back in again with 30 seconds remaining. A power play time now. Spinorama from West makes another move on Callie Remillard now. That pass off the mark for Nolgren though. So will it be down for an icing? Yes. Not the power play that this Avros squad was looking for, that's for sure. As the collapse of them really having no zone time at all in the offensive zone comes after Heidinger's able to block that shot and make her way to the puck, beat an Avro there in Shortridge, and even though Shortridge was coming down hard on her on the back check, Heidinger's still able to create a chance that goes wide of the net, but that started the momentum for the Selects, as following up afterwards was Hepner. Good play in the neutral zone to cut things off, get that puck in deep. And since then, it's been the Avros trying to find ways to just get it back into the Select zone, which haven't really been able to with much luck at all. As Reese Beavis off of this draw with 2 seconds remaining on the Avros power play. We're back to even strength. Maybe the Avros can connect here, though. It's Lavely lurking in the slot, ends up sending it wide of the net. As Reese Beavis plays a short little pass up to Schroeder. Sends that into the opposite corner now in the Winnipeg Avros zone. As it ends up back in the neutral zone, where it'll be Isabel Carrier now who sends this in to the Avros end, but cut off again. This time it's Wozni, chips it into the Avros zone. Pierre finds it in her skates as Pierre protects this strongly along the boards, makes her way to the net. Rebound there created but denied as the Selects converge. Puck was bouncing, icing called on the play. So close for this Avros side, as what a play by Rio Pierre. It starts at the blue line. She somehow is able to hold on to this puck, protecting it with her skates, using the boards, shielding the puck, and makes her way towards the net, where she just lays a little shot on net that creates a big-time rebound that hops over the stick of her teammate in Haggard. Winning this battle along the boards is the Avros. Up to the point for Shortridge. She goes high of the net as it ends up circling back to Turner at the left point. To Haggard, up to the point to Shortridge again. That blocked this time by the Selects as Scott Cook passes this out, turned over. As Jenna Turner sends it right back in. Abby Dixon, Scott Cook changing. It's Callie Remillard onto the ice. Heidinger and Hepner out for this Eastman Select squad. Is this almost trouble for this Winnipeg Avros side, but Eastman can't converge on it. As the Avros work this up the left side of their boards, through and out of their own end. As Liberty Amy trying to get this puck away from Normando. Now she blocks it on Hawes' clear-out attempt. That just saving it was Tomes. As she was looking for it afterwards. Not sure she knew where it was. What a forecheck from number 17. Number 11 in Normando, trying to show off what she can do into the offensive zone now. She sends that in deep, but not going to be much further for Normando. Actually does end up managing or managed to get this on net, as it forces a cover-up from Tomes, but Liberty Amy, we saw it in the first period, picking off that pass in the Avro, or in the select zone, and then ringing it off the post. That time, she's able to block the clear-out attempt from Blake Hawes, and this time it's Tomes who makes a save, but unsure of where it was afterwards. Is this draw won by the Selects and played up to the point? Remillard. That pass off the mark as Lexi unable to find her sister, and Callie, Select pinned up along the boards, cut off. It's the Avros who are able to work this out now. Callie Remillard now, or Lavalley, sorry, she played that towards the net. Just covering things up will be Addison Tomes. As we're at 1-1 here, tie game. With 5:57 remaining. Draw won by the Avros. It'll be West who sends this into the corner. First one on it, Reese Beavis. Off the backboards, cut off now by Pierre along those boards closest to the Selects bench. It's down low. Lavalley looked for a wrap around it first, instead held on to it. That pass off the mark, trying to find Pierre. That tip should be a high stick. Yes, it is. As it'll be outside of the Selects end now. 35-20, the shots in favor of the Select side. It doesn't matter as we're tied 1-1. It's about that next goal at this point for these two teams. Could we be seeing overtime here tonight? Could we be seeing this one end in regulation? McCann Fasteners and Tools third period. The conclusion of it will have all the answers to those questions and potentially more as Vaderigo beats Rier to that puck in the Eastman zone, feeds a pass onto the back end of the captain in Abby Dixon. Dixon now tries to drop this back to Vaderigo. Ends up getting on Rigo's stick, but has that shot blocked, heading towards the net by an Avro stick. Now this sent in by the stick of Liberty Amy. She's been great on the forecheck all game long. Decided to back away from Schroeder, ends up as F3 in the zone. The high forward ends up working out for Amy. She read that perfectly. Got it to Speechley, who sent it into the corner, wide of the net. Sent up to Heidinger, who she tries to gain a step now. Heidinger, she's going to draw a penalty here coming up. I believe it's going to be a hook. No, interference. As the great effort of number 16 continues to play a factor here in this third period. Already with a goal, now drawing penalties. It's going to send Eastman onto the girl advantage. Brought to you by McCann Fasteners and Tools. They had a great penalty kill. Now can they follow it up with a great power play here in the same period as it's Hawes over to Hepner. That shot out of play. As number 19 wound up. A bit off on the release. Straw won by Shan Scott Cook. Probably Eastman's best face-off taker out there to take the draw on PP1. As that wide of the net. Hepner. Actually, this may be PP2 as the forwards right now. As Eastman's got a loaded power play, both units. You don't finish first and have the most power play goals for no reason. The skill this team has phenomenal this season, but they're in a dogfight right now. In this third period, tied at 1-1, looking for the go-ahead goal on this power play. Worked up, Vaderigo, her shot unable to get through. A swarm of Avros in the lane there. A few Eastman bodies too, trying to get tips, but not getting any there. as Hepner takes a whack on her shin pads. Now taken down. No call coming there, but Eastman wants one. They're going to have to continue 5-on-4. As it's over to Chloe Carey. Tries going cross ice to Hepner, but reading it all the way was Shortridge. Back to Hepner now, though. Cross ice to Chloe Carey. To Vaderigo as that shot blocked up. As another penalty coming. And who will it be to? I believe this Avros side. It's going to be a 5-on-3. 2:58 remaining. .32 seconds of 5-on-3 time. As it's Shortridge who goes into the box. Timeout coming, I believe, to this Winnipeg Avros side. As Ashley Van Aglen down with all her troops. Drawing up strategy. Laird LeLuc giving his team a bit of a pep talk right now. And letting them know what he wants to see out of them on this 5-on-3 coming up for the next 32 seconds, as mentioned. You got to get traffic in front of Almeida, but the Avros have been so good at blocking shots. You need to find a way to quickly move this into the slot, look to expose it somehow, and get a quick one-timer from the bumper position. Maybe even working it to the side of the net and getting a quick jam from the side of the net for the Selects team could be the play. No matter what, you got extra room to work with out here in the zone. Only 3 defenders out on this penalty kill for this Avros team, aka 3 total players on this 5-on-3 as we're out of the timeout. So it's one up to Chloe Carey, across to Vaderigo. Selecting to keep this on the outside for now, staying patient as it's up to Vaderigo. She decides on low tip. Oh, that's what Eastman was looking for, but not getting that final result, which would have been in the back of the net, or at least on the net for a chance. Vada, her shot wide of the net, that goes. The Avros try to clear it off the backboards, not strong enough as Chloe Carey cuts it off. We're back to 5-on-4, a minute 26, 2 minutes 22 seconds remaining in this period of regulation, the final period of regulation. But will it be the final period in this game? Oh, Almeida just makes that save. Cleared out just in time by an Avro at the goal line. The Selects continue to pressure. Grenier denied by Almeida. Loose puck in the slot. Not cleared out strong enough by the Avros. Vaderigo, her shot scores! Number 17! We're not worthy! 2-1 Eastman! 1:55 remaining! It's a power play snipe as the Selects grab their first lead of the game! Pressure, it mounted. Too much for this Avro squad to handle after a while. It just gets to teams when they play against the Selects. They slowly wear you down. Getting some power play action here late definitely helped, as they were just able to keep in everything that the Avros were trying to send out. It ends up with Vaderigo walking down Broadway down that right side, firing that shot perfectly on the power play. As this Selects team, with a minute 27 remaining, are just over a minute away from taking this game 1 in this best-of-5 final series. Expect for an attempt of a push here from the Avros, as Almeida will be making her way to her bench soon. Pierre Strong, oh, she can't get that shot on net, tried to shoot through a screen. Number 9 denied. Almeida's onto the bench. This sent all the way down. It's going to be an icing, has to be called this time, and yes, it will be. So that goal brought to you by Make Canada Fasteners and Tools, your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs here in the province of Manitoba. as a timeout will be called. So we had it wrong last time out. It was the Selects who ended up calling that timeout. It's the Avros who call the timeout now. You know, by the coach's reaction, it's maybe Van Aglen a bit more intense than Leluc, but it looked like it was the Avros who called that timeout last time out. It was the Selects who did the Avros call this one, as you're searching for ways to, of course, set something up. On an offensive zone face-off draw, you need to win the draw to give yourself the best chance of success here to tie this game up. You got 52.8 seconds left, so you can be a bit patient too. You don't have to rush things. We'll see how composed this Avros group is here as they win the draw to the boards, to safety to Pierre, to the point. That shot turned aside off of Shortridge's stick by Tomes. Another save made by Tomes. It's deflected off of a stick close to the Selects net, as the Selects, they look to get this out, feeding it up ice, as that out of the reach for Hepner. She gets to it first, but West will be there to take it away. 27 seconds remain as the Selects try to get this back down into the Avros zone. The Avros are the ones who take it away. What a move by Lavalley. Feeds it to the right. A bit off the mark for Shortridge as she's able to get this down, but cut off by Scott Cook. She gets it out. Under 10 seconds remaining. High stick will be called as it's whistled down. And it looks like we're just going to run out of time here. No. We're going to stop the time. We're probably going to get some time added back on. It's a high stick call coming to the Avros. No penalty, but high stick that blows the play dead. They had 6 seconds left. This face-off draw will be inside the Avro zone. So with that, it's the Eastman Selects who battle through adversity, but pass the test. They take game 1 after 10 days off, 2-1 against this Winnipeg Avros side in a gutsy win, where their key players stepped up in Heidinger and made her go. Addison Tomes, despite one shot that beat her clean, 20 saves made in what will be her 4th victory of these playoffs, improving to 4-0. Adriana Almeida comes away with a loss, but 39 saves on 41 shots. She was fantastic in this game here tonight. We're going to get the players of the game in just a moment, but felt very much for, up until the Heidinger goal that, maybe this Avros team was going to be able to protect the lead and be able to shut down this Eastman squad, but somehow there's some daylight through the seam to get that pass over to the slot, which Heidinger, she makes her way off the ice last here. What a performance from 16. Followed up on that puck and put a one-timer through so quickly that Almeida had no time to react. And the Selects just found ways to wear down this Avro squad as this game went along. They started to draw penalties near the end of the game, as we saw, which resulted in that final goal of the game, which made her go. It's an accurate, nicely placed shot that catches post in through some traffic to beat Almeida there. So the Selects taking advantage of their opportunity. The Avros got great goaltending once again and had a great start in this one, but as this game went along, it was this Eastman Select squad who did what they do best, to stifle teams' offensive attacks. And the Avros, an offensive juggernaut this season, this one team that they had trouble with, especially in terms of generating goals and, action on net as the season series went along. And for the Avros, it's funny, as much shots as this team has put up this season against teams and as much goals as they've scored, their past 2 games before this one in the semifinals, they allowed a lot of shots but converted off their opportunities. I felt them not scoring in the first period was a huge opportunity missed. It allowed Eastman to get settled into this one here tonight. And ultimately, as the game went along, Eastman down in that third period, able to tie it up. No sweat from them, and just continue to work at it, much like in that second period. Not as much in the third, but still had some good pressure on the Avros throughout it. It was Vaderigo who would wire one home, and the Avros came close in the end, but not good enough to get a second goal here tonight against Holmes. And this Eastman defensive play. His next game, as mentioned, will be going this Friday night, coming up at Seven Oaks Arena. We unfortunately won't be there to call that one. We may have a Game 7 do or a first matchup of the Final Four in the MFHL playoff game day playoffs. So, we'll be there on Sunday, we hope, for Game 3. But yeah, next game, 7 p.m. in Winnipeg, as the Avros look to tie up the series as they go down 1-0 here. As the Selects draw first blood, the players of the game tonight, brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, as well as Mid-Can Fasteners and Tools. For the Winnipeg Avros, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, player of the game. Gotta give it to Adriana Almeida again. Gave it to her on Sunday night in their victory against the Winnipeg Ice. Said it in that one that they wouldn't be making it through without her, without that performance. Well, this game wouldn't have stayed a scoreless game, and, as close as it did without Adriana Almeida's performance. 39 saves on 41 shots against when her team got outshot 41-21. Adriana, the player of the game tonight, number 35 in Almeida for the Winnipeg Avros, brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. Be sure to check them out at 995 Miltz Drive today in Winnipeg, or at CanCentralSportsCards.com for more information. Player of the game for the Eastman Selects, brought to you by Mid-Can Fasteners and Tools, your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs here in the province of Manitoba. For me, it's Sophia Heidinger. A goal in this game here tonight, drew the first of the two penalties that ended up setting up the Eastman game-winning goal. And that penalty that was drawn was just based off of her effort. She kept skating, was able to draw that interference penalty, and thought that she worked really hard here tonight. Didn't let up her effort as this game went along. Smart play to get to the right spot on that goal for that one-timer, finding that puck somehow. She was sneaky. She was excellent tonight, and an impactful player, bringing her A game in the most important series of her life, as well as all of these Eastman Selects players, as they start off with the 2-1 victory in Game 1 to go up 1-0 as the player of the game for the Eastman Selects, number 16, Sophia Heidinger. Brought to you by Mid-Can Fasteners and Tools. Visit their store locations in Brandon and Winnipeg today. Your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs here in the province of Manitoba. Be sure to check out their website as well at midcanfasteners.shop. But as mentioned, most important series of these players' hockey careers so far in minor hockey, and their MFHL careers at least. It did not disappoint. Game 2 should be fantastic. It goes on Friday night, 7 p.m. at Seven Oaks Arena. We'll hopefully be there for Sunday's afternoon Game 3, everybody. But until then, it's the Eastman Selects who draw first blood, up 2-1 here in the MFHL 2025 Championship Series. What does Game 2 have in store? Well, we'll have to wait and see to find out. In 3 days from now at Seven Oaks, be sure to make it down to the arena. MFHL fans, pack that house for what should be another great tight battle between these two teams. Heavily contested. Can't wait for it. And can't wait to see how this series plays out. MFHL Playoff Game Day brought to you by Mid-Can Fasteners and Tools, Terrico Goaltenders, and Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia. It's Graham, the G-Show Forsyth, along with our G-Show Productions crew, saying so long, good night, thank you for watching, MFHL fans, on your home for MFHL hockey here on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca. Eastman, Rigaud, Vaderigo, that is, and Sophia Heidinger with the goals, Tomes with another win, and Eastman 2 wins away from a championship. How does Winnipeg respond? How will Eastman look to extend their series? We'll find out as this one goes along. Good night, MFHL fans. Thanks for choosing G-Show Productions once again. Take care.